Hi everyone! Welcome to Coffee with Lauren. I'm Lauren. This is my coffee. Today we're going to be talking about resting, recharging, and then creating. When you have constantly been go, 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 producing so much material, doing all kinds of stuff, and then you kind of hit like a slump. We're going to be talking about how that's actually probably a good thing and you should just lean into it. So here we go. I've actually been seeing a lot of, you might see Odin in the background. There he is. Oh. It's because we called him out. He's like, what? Anyway. I have been seeing a lot of people on social media and just in general, like in life, been seeing a lot of creative people beating themselves up over the fact that they're not producing work 12 months out of the year. Y'all, please, I'm begging you. Mama Lauren is begging you to cut yourself some slack. Here's the thing. We can't produce all year round. Trees can't produce fruit all year round. They have to go dormant every once in a while. It's called winter. Creative people are allowed to have their own winters. Writers have their own winters. And it's actually a really good thing because if you produce all year round, if you are writing, let's say you average 2,000 words a day. I know that that's a lot, but just, 2,000 words a day. If you average 2,000 words a day, 365 days a year, eventually your brain will turn to mush. Like, I know that's not a medical term, but it's my term. And I've seen it happen. It will wear you out. That is how burnout happens. Now, we live in a capitalist society. Let's all just take a moment. Yep. And there's the existential dread. And we're back. We all live in a capitalist society. At least most of us do. We live in a capitalist society that commodifies creativity. We hold our self-worth as equal to our productivity. And this happens not just with creative people, this happens with pretty much everybody who has a job. Anybody who works for an hourly wage, they view their self-worth as equal to their productivity. How long that they were able to be at work, if they took any sick days, if they had to ask for time off, all of these things end up affecting somebody's self-esteem. That is not how society should be, and it certainly shouldn't be how being a creative person is for you. If you are equating your self-worth with your productivity, I need you to take a step back. I love you. Take a step back. Take a deep breath. And realize that is a lie. It's a really big fucking lie. Your self-esteem, your self-worth is not equal to how much you produce. It is not equal to how many words you write. It is not equal to how many books you publish in a year. And it is sure as hell not equal to how much money you make for another company. So there. I feel like how my rants just are like, so there. Because it's true. You are a human being. You are a creative source wrapped up in a meat suit that has to drink water and go for walks and hug your loved ones and pet your beloved animals, whatever they are, if they like being pet. Fish might not like it, but pretty much anything else. Pet them. You are a human being. You are a soul that needs to be cared for. Can you hear somebody closing their garbage can outside? That person's a human being too. And I bet you that they feel really awful when they're not as productive as they wish they were. So let's just have a moment for that person. Yeah. When you're a writer, like most of us are, and you produce an exorbitant amount of work, it is so important that you take time to recharge. You have to rest. Please. You have to rest. You have to take a nap. You have to get 8 hours of sleep. I know that there's a kind of like a bohemian, like cool vibe to people who are like, oh, I only got like 4 hours of sleep last night, but I wrote so much and now I'm just drowning myself in red eyes. The coffee. Some people don't know that red eyes, like a red eye is a thing. And then I feel weird when I'm like, yeah, red eye. And they're like, what? It's a type of coffee. Yeah, I know that there's like this like glamorized version of creativity that is really just portrayed in media, that writers and other artist types love not sleeping, and we love being tired all the time, and we love being 97% caffeine. I mean, I enjoy it, but that's just because that's my vice of choice. Um, most people do not like having the jitters at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because they got 2 hours of sleep while finishing their novel. That's not usually how people enjoy their lives. And actually, from personal experience, this last year, I left an office job. I was going to say a corporate office job, but I didn't want to be that specific. I left an office job. I took time away from being a worker ant, worker bee, whatever insect you want to call me. And I found that after recharging and actually allowing myself to get normal amounts of sleep, which, depending on who you are and where you live, you should be getting between 7 and 9 hours a night. I'm sure there are like dozens of people laughing at me right now, like, haha, that's fucking hilarious. 9 hours of sleep a night. I started getting 9 hours of sleep a night. Actually, it started with 7. I was running on about 5 to 6 hours of sleep when I was working. That's not healthy, but it was normal for me. Then I started sleeping 7. Then I was like, oh yeah, now I'm kind of like getting tired a little. So I started sleeping 8, and now I sleep about 9 hours a night. I have produced more in this year alone than I ever did in the years that I was not sleeping. And I don't feel as tired. I'm not eating really terribly because I am starving, hunched over my desk. I am taking time to take care of myself, and in the process, and consequently, my creativity is rewarding me because I'm making so much more material than I ever was before. And I truly think it's because I allowed myself to sleep and then also to take a couple months off from actually producing work. You are allowed to do that. You are allowed to take breaks. You are allowed to feel that slump. Now, for me, it's a little with the seasons, or at least it has been for the last couple of years. Winter, I tend to, like, after Christmas, January and February and parts of March, I'm like, nothing. I'm tapped. I am a stone. You cannot get blood from me. Then around the middle of March and April, that's when stuff tends to come back up, at least for the last couple of years. That's how it's been. I know people that they get really, really productive for like 3 weeks, and then they have like a week where it's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Or they're really productive one day, take a break the next day, really productive the next day. And it's a little more like this, but they're still allowing themselves to take breaks, and they're still letting themselves lean into it, and they have days off. That's so important. It's important for your brain. It's also really important. I'll talk about this in a different video, but in terms of writer's block, if you just allow yourself to feel kind of not feeling it, like if you just allow yourself to be like, yeah, I'm just, you know what, I'm not going to write today. That's okay. Not only is that okay, but it's going to benefit you in the long run, because eventually your subconscious starts to percolate over the things that are holding you up in your project. Again, I'll talk about this more in depth in a different video, but you start to, when you're able to rest, when you're able to walk away, when you're able to just kind of like move away from whatever it was that you were working on and give yourself that break, that's when your subconscious can kind of go, cool, now we're gonna take over for right now. And then you come back to your project with renewed spirit and probably like a really baller idea. So why even fight it? I'm not very good with napping, but I've heard that naps are really great ways to reset your brain when it comes to working on stuff. I am the worst napper. I can hear my kindergarten teachers yelling at me because I wouldn't take a nap. I would be quiet. I was not disruptive, but I would not sleep. So anyway, you are allowed to take breaks. You are allowed to let your creativity dip, and you are not a failure or a less worthy human being simply because you're taking a couple months off. And maybe you have to take years off. Maybe your life right now, and it doesn't even just have to be you've been producing a lot, so now you have to take a break. It could just be that the rest of your life is taking so much more of your energy. You gotta let your creativity kind of just chill. You gotta tell your muses to take a vacation, send them on a Caribbean cruise, and deal with real life. And that's okay. Not only is that okay, I'm encouraging it. If your external life, if the life that is surrounding you with your loved ones and your friends and your spouses and your pets and your children and your work and all of these other things, if your external life is taking so much of your energy, it like needs your attention to the fullest 99% of the time, that's kind of okay. I mean, not for maybe the long run, because you definitely need you time, but it's okay to say, you know what, I don't have enough energy to also then keep writing right now. It's okay to say, I'm going to take care of these things and then I'm going to come back to this. And maybe you come back to it in 6 months, maybe you come back to it in 6 years. It doesn't matter. As long as you are taking care of yourself and you're taking care of the things outside of you that need your attention the most, that's all that matters. Wow, the lighting changed. Can you also tell that my pale ass wore white? Like, I just was like, we're just going to go for it. Casper decided to wear white. That's why I have purple hair, so you can actually see me. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to tell who I was. Just be a white, weird, blonde, just gradients of white. Like those little paint chip things at Home Depot. Cream, beige, off-white. They're all the same. That would be me. Yeah. You guys are encouraged. Again, Mama Lauren is encouraging you to take breaks, to lean into the lulls in your creativity, explore new projects, explore new hobbies, new interests. Watch that documentary that you said you were going to watch like 6 years ago and you never did. Binge your favorite show on Netflix. I don't know. Maybe tell your spouse you love them because you probably forgot about them for a while. Like, do all of these things that you really didn't think about doing before because you were pushing yourself so hard. Just lean into it. It will work out in the end, I promise. Your creativity will thank you. And I can almost guarantee that you're going to come back and be even more productive and even more on point and just like killing it. But you got to take the break. Like I said, trees cannot produce fruit all year and you can't produce writing all year. But that does not diminish your self-worth. You are still a valid, wonderful human being, no matter if you wrote 2 words, you wrote 10,000, or you wrote none. You're still worthy, and I'm still proud of you. So that's my video for today. I'm going to finish my coffee. Love you guys.